All right, brother. We're streaming. We're looking good on Facebook.
All right.
We're looking good. We're looking good on YouTube.
Can you hear 'em? Can you hear 'em? Tim Black.
All right, guys. How you doing? You're live here on the show. It looks like we're good. We're going to make sure in a minute. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to the Tim Black at Night show. This is no sellouts with my friend H.A. Goodman. Let's check levels real quick. Make sure everybody can hear us. Momo says he can hear us, and so does Frederick Murphy. Can you hear my good friend over there, H.A. Goodman? Give him some love.
Hey, Tim Black.
H.A. Goodman in the house. Yeah. I can hear you. Perfect, man. Perfect. So we're back in the house again, man. You know what we do on Mondays, man. H.A. Goodman in the house, my brother from another mother out there in Cali. Brother, I heard you just got off of a live stream. What happened, bro?
Well, first I have to do it right. Tim Black.
H.A. Goodman, what's up, my brother?
It was a very excellent discussion I had with a guy named X, and he has written. His name's X.
He's
X
Black Panther or something?
No.
Okay.
He's a white dude.
Okay.
And he's been published by Progressive Army.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering why he uses the name X.
I think to stay anonymous.
Oh, okay.
But he I don't know if I don't think it's a reference to Malcolm X, but we had a nice discussion. He's friends with one of the gentlemen who accused me of something that I never said, which was, I find it very interesting that there's a certain group of people who are like, H.A. said, team up with right-wing satanic neo-Nazis. And
wow.
yeah, so it's just crazy. And I mean, did somebody on Twitter call you a white supremacist, Tim? Some crazy shit like that?
Yeah, real close to it. Called me a coon. And black and white folks and black folks thought that was okay. That's sort of like a really derogatory term for a black man to use against another black man. But his subscribers went up after he did it, so I guess they were good with that.
Did he ever apologize?
No, he never apologized to me for that.
And you know what's funny is that the person who told you that actually furthers the establishment narrative.
All the time, yeah.
The Joy Reids of the world and the Howard Deans and the Keith Olbermanns need the identity politics groupthink because they can't go ahead and deviate from these people on the right are not human. They're crazy. They're not human. You can't even listen to them on even in the issues that you agree on. So even thinking that you could go ahead and view them as a human being, no, we can't reach across the aisle. But nobody, not once said reach across the aisle with the Klan or neo-Nazis. That's insane because it's not even feasible.
That's not. That's just the way to straw man you to death, bro. When they go to the most extreme version of someone on the right, I mean, we got, they're not realizing, or maybe they want to ignore the fact that we fight against that all the time. Like people labeling, like, if you're on the left, they're trying to label people like me, loony left, alt left, and they do the same thing to people on the right. And they don't see the hypocrisy when they complain about their own labeling. Like, come on, man. And then they pick the worst extreme. The worst extreme case scenario, the worst person in the world, and they're using people from Charlottesville in order to prove their point. When the right consists of everything from Hillary Clinton, damn right I said it, and Barack Obama, they were right of center, Yeah, I said it. And anything else, all the way through, all the way down. So it's real. It's disingenuous, but it's also hypocritical, and it's a lie because most people don't fall in that category. HA, they just want to push it there in order to prove a point. And how can you have a real debate, an honest conversation, man, when you're going to use these extreme examples in order to prove your points?
Exactly. And what I noticed is that people don't want to have, you can tell if somebody doesn't want to have a debate with you, you could tell that they're just scared and frightened. And, because they're frightened of losing. And if the only reason they debated you is because they know they couldn't win another battle, but then they'll debate you because, oh gosh, I'm losing on social media, so let's debate. My thing is, Twitter is not a way to communicate on serious topics.
No.
Twitter has turned into a way to bully others into, I just use it like to spread my videos 1,000 times and my articles 1,000 times or whatever. And sometimes here and there, I'll either defend myself or get into it. But most of the time in politics, especially, or like even anything, sports, and it's always these dumb arguments on Twitter. It's like Satan made Twitter. It's like if Satan said, what about, Facebook, there's actually not enough arguments going on. Let's find something where we can really divide humanity. How about Twitter?
I'll admit I use Twitter for a little bit more because I think Twitter's fun. I like Twitter. I can look at what people are talking about. I can jump into conversations that are already ongoing, or I could try to start my own conversation on a totally unrelated topic. And people will jump into that. So I like the communal aspects of Twitter. But then there's also BS and triggering people. You know what I mean? Like I did a video over the weekend of, what's her name? Maggie Haberman. She
the just friendly journalist, Maggie Haberman.
Yeah, she just plain out lied about Jane Sanders and, makes the argument, I didn't have enough characters or whatever. No, you lack character. You're right. You don't have enough characters. You don't have enough character, singular. And that's the reason why you felt it was okay to smear Jane Sanders, by extension Bernie Sanders, and totally using like a talking point that it was just horrible. But, saying that she went there to ridicule Arpaio, and you say since she went there, now I'm going to lump her with Arpaio, when she was very scathing of her and her criticism. But that's beside the point, man. Back to Twitter. I just think that Twitter, if used appropriately, it's cool, man. Like a person who lives on social media, like without social media, like, Tim Black TV, TBTV, it wouldn't be doing what it's doing now. But there's downsides to it, and you just experienced one, you just addressed one.
Well, Maggie Haberman is known everywhere as a journalist who is like a public relations executive for the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton's campaign. She was a friendly journalist at the biggest newspaper on the planet. So, I mean, and that's the thing, Glenn Thrush, he's a guy who worked for Politico, who then, like, coaches, they fall upwards sometimes. You're like, how did this guy get that coaching job?
Yeah.
He left Politico for the New York Times, much bigger, but he was caught giving Podesta an article pre-publication to edit. So the collusion was direct. And it's not like, they contacted Manafort or freaking, Kellyanne Conway, and Trump still won. And then they blamed Russia, but that didn't work. So then they staged a virtual staging of Charlottesville. But now the Antifa in Berkeley is going overboard, and he's using an anarchist or Antifa attacked a Latino father and son. And it's the disgusting, like, it was a disgusting video I saw. And then there was one where like a whole bunch of like these like skinny, like young people, kids, basically like teenagers or 20, like early 20s in black, dressed in black, beating up on a guy. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not right. Like this violence can escalate to where you're going to have someone to pull out a gun and God forbid, you're going to have a lot of bloodshed, and it could escalate to that point, and it's very, very dangerous. So you don't want to flirt with violence. That's
they're doing more than flirting with it, man. They're dancing with it. They're taking it out to dinner. Getting a nightcap afterwards, stopping off to get a slice of cake and a coffee. They're really getting it in with the violence. I haven't seen, honestly, man, I haven't taken a look at Berkeley, the real fallout. I was going to do that, probably lead with that tomorrow in some of my video content, bro. But is it bad? It's pretty bad, huh?
It's nasty. Like there's you can see was it like live feed or live? You can see like the video. I forgot what website is, but you can see these crazy, insane videos on this website, and you see the actual. Someone sent it on Twitter. You can see what took place with all this fighting and bullying, and it's just, is HA still trying to equate anti-fascist with fascist? No, but what I am saying is it's a fascist tactic to fight and to start hitting a Latino father and his son. So that's what I'm saying. If you see two Trump supporters and they happen to be any white, black, Latino, anybody, but a father and son, and you're attacking them, yeah, that's a fascist tactic. That's what fascists do. So I'm not equating people who dislike hatred or bigotry with people who advocate that, like neo-Nazis. But when you're starting to punch people, the lines are already, there's no more lines. You're actually engaging in the most hate-filled activity, and you're not doing anything for the left. You're actually the moral. You know what's sad, Tim? Any moral high ground that the left had is now completely taken away by this violence.
I don't know if, well, you know what? Okay. I don't know if they had moral high ground to begin with, at least not with the right. Okay. So, but I do understand what you mean as far as, the legacy of, people saying nonviolence, MLK, this being the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, these things that conjure up images of people taking it on the chin. Don't get me wrong, like, hey, dude, I'm all down for people protecting themselves. The problem is, when you look at this footage, you're not going to see everything. What you see is, like, you don't see how it started. You seldom, you may see how it ends, maybe, or you catch the middle, and people create their own narrative surrounding what started it. And the best way to avoid that, I say, is to avoid violence altogether. But once again, like, I don't know how these things start. So once again, the certain outlets are going to spin it to say these people were attacked. Others are going to spin it another way. How do we ever really know what really happened? All we know, there was violence, and the person who swung last is the one you blame. This happens in all cases, right? So whoever you see doing the final punch, that's usually the one you catch. And now it just looks like a bunch of violence. And for people sitting at home, they're just seeing violence. Like they don't know who's what. And then the newscasters are trying to tell them. But so today, Trump, he signed an executive order that remilitarized local police. And this was something that Obama rolled back. But I'll just put out a video on it, HA. You're going to find this so funny. You know who started the militarization of local law enforcement? Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. I was going to say Bill Clinton.
You knew that. I didn't know that till today. So it's really good when I get my research in. The Military Authorization Act or something. Where they in the equipment that Trump is authorizing them to use are like MRAPs, vehicles that don't use wheels to roll but use tracks to roll, grenade launchers. I mean, who the hell needs a grenade launcher? This equipment always, they talk about, well, this is good for terrorist activity, right? But they're going to use it in these cities now, right? That's when when Obama rolled it back, it was because we saw it in Ferguson and people were fucking horrified. They're like, oh my God, look at this. This looks like, something out of Afghanistan, but it's right up the street. Do you really need that much force? And most Americans would tell you, no, HA, police don't need that much force. But Jeff Beauregard Sessions and Donald Trump decided that we do need that much force, even though there's no real correlation to it. Like, I would like to know, HA, are police more safe because they use an MRAP instead of a car? or are police more safe if they use a 50 caliber ammunition as opposed to a 40 caliber, which is the standard in the Glock? So, like, I'm doing some research and finding out this stuff, and I don't know, but these are questions that need to be answered instead of Jeff Sessions, making platitudes about, we're going to protect police more. No, show me the data that proves that, more military surplus material given to local law enforcement actually saves lives. Make that argument instead of making the argument that we just need it because it's there. That's not an argument. That's a preference. And I don't think you just give kids or adults more toys to play with just because they want them, just because they're laying around.
No, and I agree with you 100%. I would say from everything you said, I agree. Obviously, you don't want police to be militarized. One reason they're militarized is because our country has been at war since 2001 all over the world. And so the surplus gear finds its way to police departments. We saw that at Ferguson and Baltimore, other places. But in addition to the fact that we're in perpetual war as a nation, the violence that was utilized, and when I spoke to, I'm very privileged that I spoke to Gary from Antifa, who was an Antifa member. He was on my channel. I'm very happy I spoke to him. Mm-hmm. But I stated what happens, number one, if, God forbid, someone pulls out a gun, either Antifa or neo-Nazis or somebody from the FBI or local law enforcement pretending to be Antifa or paying someone to go ahead and do that, or somehow some kind of issue where it's not either side, it's some other actor creating havoc.
It's possible.
Yeah. And then I said, what happens when the media turns? And we saw from today, the Washington Post, the actual headline was Antifa attacks peaceful right-wing protesters. Yeah. So
that moment in the sun is over now. The eclipse has come, and now you're on the other side of it. Now it's no more. Where's Van Jones and where's my friend Dr. Cornel West on this? I want to hear his point of view on this because I want to weigh Dr. Cornel West's opinion. But yeah, this is what happens. Like now that the tables have turned, and this is what people are watching. They're watching these people now be labeled as violent, and I don't think it helps. I don't know what the cause is, but I don't think it helps the cause to you to be seen as a violent thug. In the streets.
It doesn't help the cause. What it helps is to militarize police, and it helps like when people say, and actually Noam Chomsky stated this. The people who benefit the most have the most military power when you see fighting on the streets. So the Russia thing wasn't working. We already know from veteran intelligence professionals for Sanity, Bill Binney, Disobedient Media, The Forensicator, Elizabeth Voss, Adam Carter. We know from all of these people that the DNC was never hacked. Never, ever, 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 ever hacked. It was copied locally. Those files were copied locally. Gucci for 2.0 was a complete fabrication. And we know that the Russian hacking nonsense has no evidence. James Clapper states there's no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Dianne Feinstein, Maxine Waters, everybody, when asked, they're like, we don't have evidence, but you know what? F Trump. That didn't work. That was dissipating. The news was like, people were sick of it. So then Charlottesville took place. Suddenly, white supremacy, white nationalism. And the issue with that is I had, during my debate with X, who was a writer who has been published by Progressive Army, he stated that, well, you said that white supremacy doesn't exist. And I said, well, where did I say that? And he quoted a tweet where I talked about white nationalism and a white nation doesn't exist. So then he said, oh, well, that's what you meant. I'm saying, well, wait a second. It's not about your interpretation. I've never stated white supremacy doesn't exist because it does. That's part of our history. A white nation will never exist. With a territory within the United States of America that is only white, it's not going to ever happen. So when people say, oh my God, these white nationalists. Oh my God, it's like, okay, insane people who advocate something that will never happen. Why should I take them so seriously? You know,
I just want to add that I get your point totally, man. And I try to say this as gently as possible to black folks out there and Latino folks out there, people of color out there, even though I don't like using that term, but I don't got time to name everybody. Listen, man, we need to be concerned with the white nationalists that hide. Not the ones that come outside and walk down the street at rallies. Like these people out here. Come on, man. If you're a powerful person, actually controls lives, controls pensions, or controls bank loans, or controls what schools you go to or whatever, are you going to be marching? No. Are you going to be rallying outside with your face uncovered like these guys? No. So the real white supremacy, the real threat, man, are the people that'll never show up at one of these rallies ever. Mm-hmm. They're going to be sitting home and they're part of the 1%, totally inoculated from this BS. So this is just, to me, it's just a distraction to get us focused on these people, these like I call them redneck neckbeards or whatever, that you don't want to be around them anyway. Like, they've always existed. This is not new. This is not created by Trump, though they want you to think it. It wasn't even created by Obama. They just came out because now they're riled up. It's like roaches when you cut on the light, they start running. That's what happened. The light came on, they ran a little bit, but they are not new. They're in the walls. And let's deal with the ones that stop, that see to it that we have a revolving door between prisons and our schools. Let's look at that. And if I can get the Antifa people out for that, yeah, I'm cool. Can we get you out for that? To better schools, to kick these black kids out of the poverty rate, to get them above the poverty rate, to all these structural things we need done. And it just pisses me off when we focus on cosmetics. This is cosmetic. This is window dressing. This ain't the real issue, HA. And for white guys or black guys or any guys to call you out for it as if you on Twitter saying we should work with another person on Twitter on an issue that we agree with and screw the rest for the moment because this is an issue that we do find solidarity in, I find that disingenuous and also counterproductive.
Thank you.
It just is, bro. It just is, man.
And you want to know what I consider the ultimate white supremacy?
I don't know. I'm scared to ask.
Kamala Harris fails to explain why she didn't prosecute Steve Mnuchin's bank. And so this is her answer. So this is the Intercept article. Former California Attorney General Kamala Harris on Wednesday vaguely acknowledged the Intercept's report about her declining to prosecute Steve Mnuchin's One West Bank for foreclosure violations. There are human beings, people of color too, that were hurt. Imagine your house being foreclosed and it's not just actually the bank was at fault.
Actually, people of color suffered even more than white folks as far as per capita based on who was hurt the most. And we're still recovering even more, a lot more slowly. They say that when a white person has a cold, we get the flu. That's the situation that occurred with the banking crisis or with the Wall Street bailout. And it's still going on. So, yeah, but not to interrupt. Go ahead, H.R.
No, and you know what and I'll just use the phrase because just for the sake of argument, you want to know what her white supremacist answer was?
Oh, God.
It's a decision my office made. End of story.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
So it's a decision my office made. End of story. She said in a response to questions from the Hill. And then she's like, we pursued it just like any case. We go and we take a case wherever the facts lead us. And the facts were that she actually let foreclosures, banking violations go. Mm-hmm. And so that's, for me, that's worse than any racist tweet because that affects people. And it's from people who are the DNC already cheated for her. She's already nominee in 2020. If it's not Kamala Harris, it's another establishment Democrat.
We gotta be careful. See, this is the thing. Now, I'm going to have a debate at some point about identity politics because this is where, like, I understand that yeah, there are some issues that affect certain communities that need to be addressed from their vantage point. Okay, and that's fine. But this is where we get into trouble with it. If you mess around and you just look at identities, when you look at these politicians, then you get a person who looks black or looks Latino who hurts you more than someone who looks like H.A. Goodman. It's the technology of the situation, and that's what people need to know. So, look, I think that there's a point here that we have to start being able to look at these resumes. But I think I made this point before. Look, man, Kamala Harris, we look at her record, they call us racist. They call me a coon for looking at it. They call you a racist, you're a white supremacist. They get as close as they can with me. They call me a coon or tap dancing or something.
He has to apologize for that.
Yeah, but not just him. Like there's this group of people that, that do this type of thing. But, all I'm saying is let's hold her accountable for her record. Right, let's look at her job application. H.A. Goodman, it's been a while since I had a 9-to-5. But when I remember looking for work, when I went to fill out an application, I used to sit down with the employer and they would talk about my record. And I never got to stand up and say you're being racist or sexist because you want to know what I did the last 10 years. Like, that is standard. That's what we do. And whether you like it or not, and it looks like it is waning somewhat, we are interviewing our politicians. Like I thought we were choosing them, sort of like you choose them for a job. So the public gets to look at your resume, Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, Joey Reid. I know you like Kamala, but we get to look at her resume. And you don't get to call me a coon or racist or whatever, or followers of Joy, because I don't think Joy uses that type of language. You don't get to call me that just because I want to look at her credentials and hold her accountable. That's part of the reason why we got Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, with the rollback of Medicare, of food stamps, of the crime bill, of the militarization. Like, did he do anything good that helped black people at all? But still, somehow the media painted him in a way, using identity.
The first black president.
There you go, wearing the sunglasses, hanging out with Chris Tucker and hanging out with Stevie Wonder. They used identity to pull a fast one on us, and we are still digging out from underneath the issues and the policies that were created by Bill Clinton. So that's your identity politics, and that's the part of identity politics that is vicious, it's toxic, it's damaging, it's murderous, and it destroys and it hurts the very people that you say you're trying to help. So, I don't know, that's where I'm at on that, H.A.
And I know that's beautifully said, and I agree 100% with you. I mean, my thing is, what happens if a black conservative or a Latino conservative, you know what takes place? The identity politics. It's funny because the identity politics person on Twitter blocks that individual. So there's no discussion with.
You're not the type of black we want to listen to.
Yeah.
You're not the type of Latino. Like, no, well, when I say we care about black people, I mean the ones that are in the middle of the centrist, moderate black folks, which, actually a lot of black folks are conservative. I consider myself progressive, but I range on certain issues depending on what the issues are. Like, I don't have a problem with people owning guns, all right? I think if you come from a community like where I grew up, yeah, you might need to own a gun. Like, and because police aren't there to protect you from people with guns, they're there to come after and do a report. So I can't tell a single mom living in the hood that she shouldn't be able to protect herself when she's coming in from the third shift at Denny's, walking in the dark. Like, who am I to do that? So, and some people would say, because I have that stance that I'm not really progressive, and I say, so what? I don't care what you think. I'm okay with you not liking me. But you get where I'm coming from with that? Like, yeah. This labeling thing, we need to get past it. But yeah, they don't want to listen to all black folks. Like X, did he bring up the people from Progressive Army during your debate, H.A.?
No, well, I did, and he did also. But my whole thing is that it was kind of an amusing discussion, and it started off with him misquoting me, and then us going on to, I got a sense from my discussion with X that this is what takes place. Whether it's Progressive Army or anybody in that world, they see a tweet and then they get like triggered in their mind, and then they imagine what that tweet means, and they evaluate it, and in their interpretation, What they interpret is Satan, Nazi, Hitler, Klan. And it's not like anything nuanced. So if Caitlin Johnstone says, hey, you know, maybe on like anti-war issues or something, maybe it might be okay to perhaps reach across the aisle. You're Satan, Nazi, you're Klan member, you're white supremacist, nationalist, everything in the book. What I got, and when I debated Alex Rubinstein, Ben Dixon, and now X, is this. If you're going to have that vantage point, if you're going to go after Caitlin Johnstone, then go after Neera Tanden or Joy Reid or other people in the same way. View them as the quote-unquote enemy if you view Caitlin as the quote-unquote enemy. You can't have it both ways. That's all I'm saying. If you want to say, oh, we're down with the cause and we're, oh my God, and we're protecting progressives, then also attack the Keith Olbermanns. And view them in the same way. But see, that's the thing. They don't. And that's the establishment part.
And that's the punching down part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a reason why. Come on. There's a reason why they won't call out Keith Olbermann. They want to one day be with Keith Olbermann.
They want to be with Keith Olbermann, and they want to be with Joy Reid. And what's going to take place is, and the sad reality is, after Trump wins again in 2020, because Democrats are there's already talk of a boycott, the DNC boycott, Democratic Party primary boycott, and people should boycott the Democratic primary because it's not a primary. They're already going to pick either Kamala Harris or Cory Booker or somebody. They're going to pick that person, and they're going to say this person is going to defeat Trump, and then 538 is going to say, "Oh my God, look at the data analysis. This person's on his way to defeating Trump." And then what's going to happen on Election Day? You and we're going to have our own shows, or maybe we'll do it together, and we're going to be like this. This is our face on Election Day 4 years from now. And be like this. Be like, you dumb motherfuckers. I told you. Enjoy Trump for 4 more fucking years. And so.
But see, HA, you helped me in a way. This whole debate with Caitlin helped me because I was spending a lot of time focused on like Joy Reid. A lot of time focused on, I don't know, maybe Keith Olbermann, like, you know, or Donna Brazile. So I started looking around a little bit. And yeah, Tucker Carlson, he deserves some pot shots. He deserves some smack ups. So I gave him a smack up today. I won't get credit for it, but he deserved it. He needs it, right? So there's criticism to go around. But when I'm out in the streets and I'm talking to real people that are just living their lives, not the people in my bubble who are like eating this stuff for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then a snack in the middle of the night. No, people who hardly ever consume mainstream media, who only do it when they're waiting to get to another channel or whatever. Those people feel like all of the mainstream media, all of corporate media, whether it be Fox, CNN, or MSNBC, they don't have time to break the networks down in containers. They say it's all propaganda, okay? So the people I talk to on the street don't pull punches. Now, if you go to these people in the gooey middle of the left, they'll tell you on Twitter, for instance, they make it seem like it's all Bill O'Reilly or Tucker Carlson or Rush Limbaugh, but that's not what average Americans think. Now, maybe I'll get some different answers. But when I went to Silver Spring, Maryland, and I went to Washington, D.C., and I talked to people, they said the whole thing is full of propaganda. And that's more true than it is of these people on Twitter acting like it's something only relegated to the right. Mm-hmm. Get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And, I commend you on doing something that I don't think, maybe I could do it, but you do it so well. And you go to people on the street, and I'm telling you, Tim, I've said this many times. I'm telling you, like Jimmy Kimmel and late night talk shows have to have Tim Black on the street, Tim on the street, whatever they want to call it, because you do such a good job speaking to people, going to people, and getting them to speak and to talk about politics. And you're right. You're 100% right. There are a lot of minorities who view the Second Amendment as very important. And if you live in a neighborhood where you could die at any moment, then you're going to want to have some protection. And the poorest neighborhoods in the country, unfortunately, oftentimes are communities of color. You can't expect the Twitter, social justice warriors to understand that.
Yeah, I like to want at some point. I know it would be kind of difficult to get people to be honest. I like to know the demographics of some of these people, man. Where'd you grow up? Like, what was your surrounding? What was your environment? Because when some of these statements come across, it really seems like sort of like upper middle class type of attitude about life. Like, yeah, you know.
You can tell when they say like, this is funny. Does HA have legs? I've never seen him standing. I mean, I could stand, but the camera wouldn't show my legs. So I mean, it's like, but life is bigger than Twitter. Twitter is a distorted view of reality. But I will say this: it's good for things like hashtag DNC boycott.
Yeah.
And you know what's fantastic, Tim? I think that I'm going to talk to you because we talk almost every day. And we'll talk on the phone about something very interesting. There was a woman online that I saw her tweet the other day. It got me thinking, and it got me thinking to the point like there should be a movement, a Democratic Party boycott, a Democratic primary boycott in 2020. And the interesting thing about it, it's bulletproof. It is you can't embarrass people. You can't say you're letting Trump win. It's like, dude, you let Trump win with Clinton. So you can't say, oh my God, you're helping.
Primary. It's a primary. Yeah. It's not even.
It's the primary.
There you go.
So you boycott the primary, and because they already cheated. So we know from Jared and Elizabeth Beck, who's saying that. I mean, Jared Beck told me 100% chance they're going to cheat. It's 100% certainty they're going to cheat again. So the primary is a complete charade. So if you boycott it, at least it sends a message that we know what they're up to. They can't bully us, and it doesn't matter how many articles from the Washington Post, the New York Times, because you know what's going to happen, Tim. Come 2019 and 2020, everything you read is going to be Trump will not win. He can't win. He's too far down in the polls.
Right.
He will be a sitting president like 10 points down in the polls. And then he was 20 points down, 30 points down with Clinton, and he won. And this is after he grabbed you know what.
Right.
So but the thing is, and this is why, like, when people say you have conservatives on your channel, HA, well, yeah, because my channel is devoted to exposing the Democratic Party. So a lot of people don't like Democrats, but
right, not your fault.
Yeah,
look, but not my fault that other people from that's when we put content out. That's such a weak argument. Like, what type of people like your content, or find some people. There are people that watch my content, HA, who don't agree with me, but they want to hear the other side.
Yeah.
Like, there are people like that who are not just in their bubble, in their little echo chamber, who are actually interested and more open-minded enough to check out other types of points of views and ideology on politics. I think that's a great thing. It should be applauded. More people need to spend time looking at what they disagree with and understanding it. And that way, and look, if for nothing else, at least now when you have a conversation with people that you're trying to persuade, or that you're trying to educate, you'll know where they're coming from, instead of having this boogeyman thing inside your head that already labels these people as the devil. Look, if they are, that will reveal itself and you can act appropriately. But until then, you need to give people the benefit of the doubt and deal with them as human beings who you can find some type of common ground with.
And I can tell you with 100% certainty that Trump's base is hardcore. They don't give a crap about what's going on in terms of the media frenzy. Oh, yeah. If anything, it makes them dig down. They're going to vote in the same way for Trump. They're going to go to the polls. It's people who are like, you know what, F the Democrats for what they did to Bernie, a DNC lawsuit, everything, war, they're neocons. Steve Mnuchin, his bank wasn't, prosecuted by Kamala Harris, all of these things. It's the people on the left who see the hypocrisy on the left who aren't going to vote. they're not going to vote for the Democratic candidate. They're going to vote green, or they're not going to vote at all.
They're not going to vote at all. A lot of them. You're absolutely right.
And why should they vote? Why should people vote Democrat? Because you're just going to get the same corrupt. You're actually reinforcing. It's not like the Democratic Party said, "Oh my God, we're going to learn from what we did to Bernie and how we lost to Clinton." They actually doubled down. They said, "We did everything right, and it's Russia's fault. And now white supremacy just started, and they're going to lose, and they're going to lose again."
Yeah, you brought the KKK back. Justin Timberlake brought sexy back or whatever, but Trump brought the KKK back. Man, KKK been here for hundreds of years. Yeah. I don't know what people are thinking. My people down south already know that, man. They already know. And look, I'm not saying, I don't even want to get into the monument conversation, man. I'm just saying, goodness gracious, guys. Look, let's go back to Democrats. The Democratic Party, this is only 2017. I don't know how long they can ride out the Trump is scary shit. All right? They started too early, in my opinion. That's 3 years. By this time, people are going to be numb come 2019. They're going to be like, well, unless he cooked a dog on TV, I guess he's doing all right. I mean, I'm just saying, because you shot your load way too soon. It's over.
That's what happens. They always shoot their load too quick.
That's it, man. And now you're impregnated with more Trump.
Yeah.
And look, and you try to tell them, you try to reason, and people don't see it that they don't have a long view. AJ, they just don't have a long view. So this is what you get. You get what you pay for. I don't know what to tell you. I hope that they would turn it around. It doesn't look like it. Does it look like they're getting the message finally?
You know what's gonna happen? No, they're gonna lose bad. But you know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen? I'm telling you, this is what will take place. They're going to lose in 2020. Rachel Maddow is going to get fired, and Joy Reid's going to get fired. And then, of course, they're going to write books and make a lot of money from, oh, my God, my battle against Trump and how, the stupid American people and American voters. And they're going to try to spin it. There's going to be a faction that still is, oh, my God, voters are so stupid. It's like the Bill Maher faction where it's like, oh, gosh, you're just so stupid. You don't realize.
Ridiculous. The Sarah Silverman line. Yeah.
You're being ridiculous. And then there's going to be a growing faction, like you and I will be mainstream. Like our views will be the mainstream view. We have to completely transform the Democratic Party if there's any hope of battling Republicans again. Because what's going to take place, you're going to have Trump's going to win in 2020. I don't care what. It's so ridiculous now. They're saying that these articles that are coming out are so ridiculous. Like, he's gone crazy. This man has to go. He's crazy. It's like, yeah, what did he do that's so you disagree with him on policy? Fine. He should have stated that he should have categorically stated, I'm against the KKK and Klan and all of this. But nothing that he has done, aside from pushing policies and aside from the executive orders that we don't like in terms of value system,
right? Nothing
he's done is insane.
It's bad, and that's the problem I have, right? Is that while we ramp up and we do all of this bells and whistles surrounding Trump on these issues like Russia, is he mentally sound and all these things, we're letting him slide on issues that are really that have foundation, like policy. Policy has foundation. There are a lot of people who are going to be hurt by Trump's policies. His policies do not help poor people. They help rich people like Trump. You understand? Mm-hmm. So while you focus on Russia, and don't have the balls to call it out as an independent media person, I don't understand how you look in the mirror. I don't understand how you equate yourself to be a person of ethics. Dude, Trump has policies that you could talk about all day, every day. Talk about the Meals for Wheels that got cut. Talk about that horrendous health bill that his Senate put out. And then the two of them, all of them have been horrible. Hit him on that all day, but this other stuff, people listen to that and they go, man, they don't know what to think and they don't care.
Yeah.
They just don't, HA.
And also the thing is, it's not like they don't even want to focus on policies because almost always their policies are not that different. Aside from healthcare,
What?
aside from healthcare, which they're like, oh, healthcare, they're so proud of it. But at the same time, they don't want to talk about Wall Street. No one's talking about breaking up banks. No one's talking about ending perpetual wars. No one's talking about banning fracking. Nobody's talking about reinstating Glass-Steagall. Nobody's talking about every single core fundamental precept or concept of or tenet of Bernie's platform. Now, the healthcare thing, they are so full of it because when Bernie was actually talking about single payer, Hillary Clinton and everybody, all the neoliberals were saying, never happen. It's a pipe dream. It'll never happen. Now you see like the public relations firms on YouTube and in the media and in print saying, oh, well, single payer is the way to go. They had that chance with Bernie. And all we hear about now is pragmatism. Let's be realistic. It's like
anyone, and not to cut you off, AJ, anyone who disagrees, please put in the comment section why. I believe if the Democratic Party would have got behind Bernie Sanders and the single-payer idea, the Medicare for All bill, that would have won. It would have won big. It would have defeated Trump. You would not have Trump in the White House right now. Now, what would have Bernie been able to do with that? I don't know. But it would have been a winning strategy because it's something that most Americans want. But the neoliberals did not want it. Now that it doesn't matter what they want, and then it's tested well, as HA just pointed out, now everybody wants it. Oh, it's a great idea. Elizabeth Warren out there talking. Yeah, we could single payer. You got to be on board with it. Yeah, now that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now that you're out of power totally. Okay, so that's where it's like, and I know like regular folks are not paying attention to this stuff, but if you're paying attention to it and you know the words to be true, I mean, please comment below because I see it as, and that's the reason why I hit the Democrats so often because they're doing this trickery.
And also, there's really no need for any unity with people who they only respond to power. They only respond to a direct message against them. Mm-hmm. And even then they don't change. So it's not like they're gonna, this whole concept of working from within. This is why I always bring up Young Turks, because it's not a matter like if you are going to have a brand, and I'm not talking about all writers or everyone associated with, I love Jimmy. I think Mike Figueredo is great. I'm not talking about people everybody who's associated with the Young Turks. What I'm saying is the brand that Cenk Uygur created, that brand funnels anger into the Democratic nominee, eventually into the Democratic nominee. He will never, ever go outside the establishment and change things. Cenk Uygur, that the Young Turks brand, and there are other brands out there, David Pakman or Sam Cedar or whatever, which is fine. That's their thing. But there's only so much of pointing out how horrible Republicans are and then losing to them because you're afraid to completely transform the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party doesn't stand for big issues. Trump stands for big issues on his side. I don't agree with them. You don't agree with the wall. You don't agree with an immigrant ban. But he actually upheld big issues to the right. Like we talked about, you brought this up. What Democratic president's going to ban fracking via executive order? What Democratic president's going to say no more military operations for 60 days or 90 days via executive order? It's never going to happen. But a Republican president will say, yeah, we're going to ban immigrants. We're going to go ahead and try to get this wall passed. We're going to do those things because they believe in their value system. They have a value system. Democrats don't have a value system. It's whatever. It's kind of like, oh, gee, let's be in the middle, but pretend we have all these fractured groups on the left pushing identity politics. And at the end of the day, who wins? The Joy Reids, the Neera Tandons, the Howard Deans, the Keith Olbermanns, and the Kamala Harrises of the world, and the Hillary Clintons of the world. And then Hillary Clinton loses. Oh, it's Russia's fault, even though we find out they literally flirted with World War III just because Clinton lost $1.2 billion.
$1.2 billion, man. I like that point you just made, how Trump had big ideas. Forget if you agree with them or not. They were big ideas. They were ideas that galvanized the right. What were the big ideas that Hillary Clinton had? And I'm not trying to go like pull up all the Hillary stuff. It tends to happen in our conversations. But bear with us. The point
I'll do it on my channel.
But the point is, you know what I'm saying? But the point is, though, he's right. HA's right. Like, what big ideas did Hillary have that she didn't get from Bernie and that she actually believed in and she was riding on? And I don't mean watered down Bernie policies either. I mean actually ideas that would have galvanized the left. Like at the end of the day, if look, a lot of people didn't trust Hillary, so it's kind of different because she had the highest untrustworthy numbers of any candidate, like in history of candidates. So that makes it hard there by itself. But what would have happened if Hillary said, we want single payer, that's what we're riding on? I think a lot of the loud left that people want to call the loony left, I think they would have got on board. Now, not all, but some. Some would have, because a big idea, it attracts people like a magnet. That's what happened to Trump. So whether you agree with the idea or not, look at the strategy. And not only that, when you stick to it, like Trump stuck to a lot of his promises, though some of those promises like the wall, the law and order stuff he's doing, I don't think it's good. I don't agree with it at all. But at least you can see it. You step back from it and you just look and see that this side has a lot of stuff. Big ideas, this place, not big ideas. I have a vagina is not an idea. It's your anatomy, Hillary. And like the people that tried to force that on us, like that, like it was some type of moral failure on our part because we didn't see the magnitude of it, just goes back to, not to really take respect or have respect for the fact that jobs and freedom, which is Martin Luther King's cornerstone of the March on Washington, like that is what unites the left. And she didn't run on that. So.
And if you bring it up, you're a bad person. And you know what?
Neo-Nazi.
Exactly. I'm going to get my $1.2 billion worth of bringing it up because.
Damn it, I need to know where my Putin money is. I'm waiting on my Kremlin paycheck and my Putin money. I have not got it. And what was it? AM Joy Reid, and a couple other Michael, I forget his name, Malcolm Nance, and someone else sat on the channel on her show a couple weeks ago and said that anybody who has a Patreon who doesn't believe the Russian narrative are probably getting paid by Putin through their Patreon.
I wouldn't mind if that was the case. That would be cool. You get a good check through Patreon, especially since we're not at war with Russia, and especially since Obama's administration signed off on 20% of U.S. uranium. So wow. I think that 20% of U.S. uranium is a bigger deal than Russia giving money to, our Patreon accounts.
You don't believe that, do you? Come on, man. You wouldn't actually take money from Putin. Come on, man. Somebody's gonna believe you. You know they believe it already.
Not only. Well, it's not feasible. It's not even because he would never give money to anyone's Patreon account. That's craziness.
But we have crazy people, HA. We can't play like that. These people.
But let me ask you a question. If the Russian government gave you or I $100,000 on our Patreon, we have no links to the Russian government. My question is, they didn't hack the DNC. If the UK gave $100,000 to one of our Patreons, nobody would say anything.
No, they wouldn't.
Okay. If Russia, I'm not saying that I have money from Putin or that, Russia would give either you or I money. But what I'm saying is John Podesta has 75,000 shares in a Russian-owned, like a Russian state-owned company. They're making money hand over fist. Yep. The Podesta group, Bill Clinton got paid $500,000 from a Moscow investment bank with direct links to Russian intelligence and Putin. So if Bill Clinton could get $500,000, why can't lowly H.A. Goodman get $100,000 from Russia?
Because
Let's say I spoke to a Russian investment bank like Bill Clinton. Do I have to speak to a Russian investment bank first, or just get the money from the Patreon?
Because you don't have a media machine behind you to spin it like you're just a businessman, H.A. You're just doing what's best for the people. Look at the Clintons with Haiti. Billions of dollars missing. But they do good work and they do life-saving work. No, where are the billions of dollars? Shut up. Don't bring that up. Get back to the point. He helps people. What about the children that are the trafficking, the human trafficking? Shut up again. So the double standard. Also, they'll take money from George Soros all day and do videos going, yeah, I'll take money from George Soros. So what? And people think nothing of it.
So basically, in order to take money from Russia, you just have to change your name to Bill Clinton, and then speak to a Russian investment bank in Moscow. So here's what I'm going to do. If there's a Russian investment bank in Moscow that wants me to speak and wants to pay me $500,000, I'm totally down.
Dude, you just jumped up that watch list. And you just took me with you up the watch list. We're at the tippy top of the watch list now.
It's all good. It's all good. We have friends in high places.
Dude. You gonna put us under? We do? What friends in high places?
You and I can't divulge that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We have friends in high. Yeah, exactly. H.A. Ha. No, we don't. I don't have friends in high places. I can't even get my YouTube videos to make a quarter. So no, my places. I got friends, but they're in regular places. Going to, working every day.
What's that song? I have friends in that song?
You got a friend in me. But no, man, it's the double standards of all this stuff, man, that we're dealing with. They've created such a boogeyman out of Russia. That and they've only look at his relations to Russia. What about everybody else's? No, we just want to look over here. But these people have been dealing with Russia for decades. I know. But we're talking about over here, though. We focus over here, H.A., you neo-Nazi.
The funny thing is what they do is they make the accusation and leave it there, and they rely on you to extend the logic. So they're like, Tim Black's taking money from Russia. And that also means Russia hacked the DNC, which never happened. Therefore, Tim Black is helping Russia hack the DNC, which never happened. So none of it happened. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I totally agree with you. I know exactly where you're going. I'm just trying to mix it up and give it a little legs, make it a little funny, and also point out the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party or of the liberal media. Let me call it the liberal media. There's some good Democrats out there. I've met a couple of them. They do exist. They actually want to get their party back. Like, there are people who fought for it for decades. There are people who feel like it's been taken over for decades and they want it back.
Let me tell you, I love Nina Turner. I love Tulsi Gabbard. I think Nina Turner and Tulsi Gabbard are better than Bernie now. Both of them are better than Bernie.
Yeah.
And I say that I respect Bernie still, but I can't help but being hurt, by everything that took place, especially with the DNC lawsuit. But, this is, what I learned, Tim? I learned from the past couple of years, from 2000, I started writing in 2014 in the Huffington Post till now. I learned that, and The Hill, a whole bunch of other places, but I learned that this is all theater. And unfortunately it's 85% theater, like 10% actual things that impact people, which is always never focused on. And then the rest just, wrestling or WWF, going at it. And it's true. Just
so true, bro.
It's so sad because people take it so seriously and they don't realize they're being used. And they don't realize that there are people who are making a lot of money. The Democratic National Committee gave $1 million in bonus money after losing. Interns got $500. One guy got a $250,000 bonus, high-ranking member. I mean, you and I didn't get a $250,000 check, but they got $250,000 for losing to Trump. One guy.
Great job. I mean, look, you know what? I think they earned that money because losing to Trump took effort. They had to work at that. That's not something you just fall into. The only candidate that could lose to him did lose to him, and that took some doing. So I respect your mediocrity. I respect your level of non-performance.
Here's my wedding ring. I was reading the you know what? Can I tell you, No Sellouts has an amazing chat section. The chat group, live chat. He's just amazing.
What they talking about, man?
The live chat.
Oh, what they say?
One person said, HA is married with no wedding ring.
So is Tim Black. So is Tim Black. I actually don't have one on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because I'm out doing what Trump said I'm supposed to do, man. Right? And he's president. No.
That would actually make a good on the street thing.
Oh man. People will talk about people want to talk about anything other than politics. They will talk about anything else. Like, politics, politics and race. Like most people, I gotta start off with something real nice, or something media. Like I started off with Mayweather McGregor. And then I tried to slide in like something more consequential like Charleston Charlottesville. I don't know. I live in the area, so that's the reason why I get them mixed up sometimes. But people don't want to jump out there on these hot button issues, So it's not always easy. It's okay if you run up to people, ask them, "What's your favorite musician?" Like, do you like Beyonce? Like people are like, what do you think about the new Batman or whatever? Yeah, people talk, but we ask them like, what do you think about the KKK? They're like, what do you think about neo-Nazis? What do you think about Antifa? They're like, anti-who? I mean, I thought I put on my deodorant today. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that with my shaved head, that would not be good. If I'm like, so what do you think of the Nazis? And like, no, I'm Jewish. No. And it would be like, you're crazy. Get me away. Get that away from me.
Man, HA, man, you look. So let's plug the shows. You have Nico House coming on the show when?
I have Nico House coming on the show tomorrow at 6:00 and 6:00 p.m., 9:00 Eastern, and at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, I have a really wonderful, really brilliant writer, and his name is Teodros Fikre. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I probably am not, but he's a really wonderful writer and thinker and philosopher, and we're going to talk about healing after Charleston. Charlottesville. I'm sorry. So healing after Charlottesville.
See what I did to you with that?
Yeah.
I screwed you up.
and with Nico at 6, and I'm sure he's going to be on your show too, we're going to talk about more DNC lawsuits. Yes.
Right. I know Teodros. He's
Teodros.
T. I'm just going to call you T, man, because look, man, I don't want to brutalize your name. But I've seen some of his stuff and I've retweeted some of his stuff. He's been working Twitter, man. He's been working Twitter hard, man, to get his message out. I have Nico Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to do a special show on Wednesday to bring Nico on to talk about the DNC fraud lawsuit. So go to HA's channel at 7. Go there tomorrow and then come back here on Wednesday for more Nico. Well,
Tim, I can't. You're amazing. I love you, and you have an amazing week.
Kick ass, HA. Kick ass. Take names or throw them away. I don't care. Just continue to kick butt out there because they don't want our message going out, man. They just do not want it, and that makes me want to fight more and more to get it out.
I agree 100% with you. And like I said, everyone's going to move towards our vantage point very soon. So I appreciate everything, Tim. You're the man.
You the
and
man, brother.
I will see you next No Sellouts.
You got it, man. Guys, go find H.A. Goodman on
Thanks,
Facebook,
everybody.
on Twitter, and especially YouTube. Support H.A. Goodman. He's the brother. He's the man. If you like this show, and I hope you do, become a member. Become a member on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/Tim's Take Live. I'm also on you find all this stuff in the link description. But when we try to do independent media, we try our best to just shoot it straight. And that's such a rare thing. It's not about left, it's not about right, it's about right. It's about truth. So let's keep it there and we're gonna always be good. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow. I got more videos on the way. And follow me and email me at tim@timblacktv.com. And with that, another song, let's play again, Jimmy Reefer Cakes track, if I can find it. I got you. And I'll see you on the next one. Oh, and pick up a t-shirt. That's right.
Tim Black.